All right, guys, we're going to go through the full rankings breakdown. Now, what I have is both the AP poll, their final end of well, actually, I think they have one more, but their rankings and also the college football playoffs. Guys, let me just say, and I tweeted about this, it's just so ridiculous. At what point, if you're ESPN, do the adults not come together in the room and say, hey, maybe instead of doing this so disorganized, we announce the top four at 12:30. It really should be at 12 o'clock, but let's just say we announce the top four at 12:30, and then we announce the rest of the top 25 at 1 o'clock. Let's organize a little bit. We're not 3-year-olds who don't know how to do anything. Why is this going on for 8 straight years where we're sitting there, we don't know when the ratings are coming, they're saying 2:30, like, listen. Why not make it a spectacle? Why not get up at 10 a.m., release the top four, and then in between the window before the NFL games start, announce the Rose Bowl, announce the Cotton Bowl, all in a row, instead of having, people break the news on Twitter? It makes no sense. And they botch it every single year, and I'm sure they'll botch it again next year, and they'll say, hey, we're revealing the top 6 at noon or 12, which really not noon. They reveal it at like 12:30. And then, you know what? Let's just sit down and talk to Ryan Day for 40 minutes about how he's so happy that his team gets redemption. And then we'll talk to Kirby Smart as well. So, it's just, you can talk to the coaches after all the rankings get revealed. After the bowl games get revealed. Guys, I apologize for that. I'm going to full screen this because I can barely see it myself, so we're going to full screen it. There they are. This is the final college football playoff selection committee rankings. We knew about the top 6. Clemson comes in at number 7 after that really impressive ACC championship win. Good for Clemson University. They're going to be, guys, I'm just telling you right now, Clemson is going to be ranked really high next year in the preseason AP poll with a true freshman quarterback coming back who's showing massive improvement already. Get ready for a lot of Clemson hype, although we'll see with their defense and what they return. Utah at number 8. What an amazing win that they had in the Pac-12 championship game over USC. Kansas State at number 9. So how about Kansas State moving up one spot? They still are a 3-loss team. It's important to note that, but very, very good year. They're in a New Year's 6 bowl against Alabama. You have Utah coming in at number 10, you have USC coming in at number 10 after their loss. They dropped from number 4 to number 10, and there was no way that you could put Utah behind USC because they beat them twice and they just crushed them. Penn State falls to number 11. So, guys, a lot of people have actually mentioned this. Penn State does not have a single good win, and I love Penn State. Don't get me wrong. And one of the reasons they were a top 10 team was because their only 2 losses were to Ohio State and Michigan. But if you actually look at their schedule, they really don't have a good win. People were saying their best win was, I think, Purdue in week 1. Washington at number 12. Rest in peace to Washington's chances at the Rose Bowl. That lasted all of 4 days. But no, they're a really fun team, really fun quarterback. They'll be in a good bowl. Unfortunately for them, they needed Utah to lose to make a New Year's 6 bowl. That did not happen. Florida State at number 13. They'll be in a really good bowl. They had a great close to their season. Oregon State at 14. Guys, I still disagree with this ranking. I know people are going to come at me. I think Oregon is better than Oregon State. I understand Oregon State beat Oregon, but it was a fluky home come-from-behind win, and I've got nothing against Oregon State. I think they're a really good football team, but in general, I think Oregon is better than Oregon State. That's my opinion, but they're 14 and 15. Tulane at number 16. They'll be in a New Year's 6 bowl, so congratulations to them. LSU falls to number 17. They got destroyed by Georgia, although they did have a lot of passing yards. I'll give LSU credit for that. UCLA coming in at number 18. They kind of had a breakthrough season. South Carolina at 19. After their great close to the season, they're 8-4. Texas at number 20. I don't think any of these rankings really changed. Notre Dame at 21. Mississippi State coming in at 22, NC State 23, and then Troy and UTSA both end up winning their conference championship games, so they get shout-outs there. Another team that I personally would rank, I would just take Mississippi State off completely, and I would rank Fresno State. That's the first thing I would do to change these rankings. Also, I would put Oregon in front of Oregon State. Also, I would put Tennessee in front of Alabama at number 5. And really, it comes down to precedent with Tennessee and Alabama, guys. I think right now, certainly if I had to put either Tennessee or Alabama into the playoff, I would put Alabama because I would be taking into account the injury to Hooker. But, if we're talking about teams not making the playoffs, it really doesn't matter where you rank them. Tennessee and Alabama played in an epic game. Tennessee won that game. That should be rewarded, right? If they both have the same record, that should be rewarded, in my opinion. But they do have Alabama at number 5. Not that it's a big deal at all, but that was interesting. But really, I don't mind these rankings. I would put UCLA in front of LSU. I'd probably put UCLA in front of Tulane as well. Just my personal opinion there. Also, I'd move the problem with Notre Dame is they have 4 losses at this point, so I'm really not gonna, say Notre Dame should be moved up all that much. And then we do have the AP poll that we've got here. So I'm just going to run through this. It's something to look at in comparison. We have Georgia at number 1, Michigan number 2, TCU number 3. There is one holdout. So Georgia did not get the unanimous vote. To be honest, I would have been surprised if they would have been unanimous. I mean, I would say most of us agree Georgia is number 1, but I don't think it's like, oh my God, Georgia's a super team or anything like that. So Georgia received 62 of 63 votes. Michigan number 2, TCU number 3, and then you can see the separation between Ohio State and Alabama. It is over 100 points in separation. Ohio State clearly at number 4, Alabama at number 5. I'm surprised that the AP poll actually did put Alabama in front of Tennessee. Normally they're more open to movement like that. Utah at number 7, so they move up 5 spots. USC only drops to 8 in these rankings. I disagree with that. I would have moved them below Penn State and Clemson. I think USC has a very subpar defense, and it showed in the Pac-12 championship game. Kansas State at number 11, they're underranked. I think the committee got it right. The AP poll didn't. Washington at number 12, I would have moved Washington. Well, I think Washington is fine. Florida State at 13, Tulane at 14. I think Tulane is overranked. Oregon at 15, LSU down to 16, Oregon State at 17. So we do agree that Oregon is better than Oregon State. I know you're talking about the head-to-head, but you also have to factor in how that game was actually played. Oregon in total control. They have a special teams issue. You've got to factor that in my opinion. UCLA falls down a spot. I don't know why, but they fell down a spot. I guess another team moved up or something, but Notre Dame at number 19, South Carolina stays at 20, Texas at 21, UTSA all the way up to 22. I agree with ranking UTSA. I don't know about that high. Troy at 23, Mississippi State at 24, NC State at 25. North Carolina, the first team out, so they completely fell off the map. North Carolina, oh my goodness. You have to wonder, I know Drake May loves North Carolina, but you have to wonder, does he consider transferring? That was a severe drop from North Carolina. UCF receiving votes. Certainly, the UCF situation is unfortunate with the quarterback injury they dealt with throughout the entire second half. We definitely had some good moments with UCF, though. Cincinnati gets some votes. With Cincinnati right now, I think it's very a severe situation with their coaching without Luke Fickell. Ole Miss gets some votes. Yeah, Fresno State, I would have ranked Fresno State. Purdue, Purdue fought pretty much exactly what we expected against Michigan. They were kind of hanging in there. Guys, I think, maybe I'm being disrespectful to TCU, but it just feels like Michigan TCU, we already know the result, guys. Maybe I'm being disrespectful, maybe. It just feels like one of those playoff semifinal games. You guys remember the Alabama-Washington game when Washington had Jake Browning and John Ross, I think? And it was like, we all know Alabama's going to win, but Washington, they can play defense, they can fight for a little bit. Maybe I'm being disrespectful to TCU, but that's what Michigan TCU feels like. It feels low scoring. It feels like TCU is going to... Maybe it's not low scoring. I don't know. TCU is a higher scoring team. That's an interesting game, guys. I'll have to think about that one. You've got South Alabama getting some votes. Good for them. They've got a great defense. Guys, I think Illinois should have been ranked. Illinois is a good football team. I'm sick of it. Illinois should have been ranked. Let's be honest. Boise State, I don't know why they would be ranked. Pittsburgh, no chance. Minnesota, I like Minnesota football, I do, but I wouldn't rank them. And then James Madison gets a shout out as well. So that is the comparison, for the two polls, and I will probably do another video recapping all of the bowl game matchups. If I don't, how tomorrow is going to work, what I'm going to do, it's going to be a two-part video. My full bowl predictions, so there's 43 bowl games. The first part is going to be the first, I think, probably 28 bowl games. The second part is going to be all of the huge bowl games. So the first part is going to be me just rolling through all kind of the lower tier bowl games. And the second part, it's going to be all the New Year's Six. It's going to be all the stuff. Both videos probably 20 minutes long or something around there. And it's going to be jam-packed. It's going to be huge. And there's going to be a lot of stuff to go over. I already do have a rough estimate right now on my predictions for the Michigan TCU game and for the Ohio State Georgia game. The Michigan TCU game, I'm a little, I'm getting mixed vibes on the score, just how high the score is going to be. I'm going to have to really think about it. The Ohio State-Georgia game, I'm extremely sure. I am seeing it so clearly right now, the Ohio State-Georgia game. I know the score. Guys, this is what I do. I'll say it tomorrow. When it comes to the playoff games, I don't miss. Last year, I said, listen, Georgia and Alabama are going to have a rematch, and Georgia's going to win in the national championship. This was before either of the playoff games, the semifinal games have happened. So I'm seeing this so clear right now. I'm about 95% sure I've got the Ohio State-Georgia game right. About 95. I need to sleep on it. And look at some of the analytics and things like that. There's a lot of data. But in general, guys, when it comes to these rankings, it is a data point to look at towards the end of the season. Like, how good was your season? Look back on the rankings, and it is good. I think that the big takeaway, you see teams like UTSA getting ranked. That's always good to see. Who else did they rank there? They ranked Troy as well. So, it's good for those programs, certainly. And obviously, we're expecting some big bowl games as well. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.